Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for a max effort lower day, but a quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos, please remember to click like down below, it'd be greatly appreciated. But let's get over to the training. I decided because I wanted to put on squat shoes since I'm pretty much narrow stance high bar squatting again these days, I threw the squat shoes back on. You guys saw on the heaviest set the screenshot in the thumbnail, so you guys can see that I definitely hit depth with it. It can be a little hard to tell because it goes fast on the screen because I don't spend any time at the bottom. I go pretty quick and I'm trying to use a stretch reflex. So if there's any doubt, we have the screenshots, but ramped up, did 521 on the safety bar. Again, nice and deep, which would technically be a PR because the only time I've done anything in this range on the bar before, it was high. Like I knew it was high when we saw the footage, even though it was a front view. This case, we got depth, right? We got depth. Walked it in, cool, collect. I always see a little bit of stars when I do this, like it leaves me a little lightheaded whenever I use a safety bar, and it's just kind of the way it is. Deadlifts, we did 600 on a deficit with the stiff bar. I get people who, they act like the deadlift bar is a big deal, and it's like, oh, it's cheating. No, it's not. It's allowed in competition. I use the meet legal deadlift bar. And I don't compete in feds that use only the stiff bar. So it's not really relevant, but it is harder. It's harder to grip. Like, I don't find that the stiff bar is a more difficult pull for me because I'm always fast off the floor. When I start doing it with deficits, it gets harder, right? But the grip is the big deal. But I'm pretty happy with that because if you guys look, that wasn't 100%. Now, I had people look at that and say, well, that looked like RP6. Are you sure that was even 90%? I'm like, I'm sure that was at least 90%. Because if it isn't, it's implying that I can deficit deadlift like 700 pounds, and I can't. Like, we know I can't do that. But stiff bar, 1 inch deficit, non-max, close to max. Close to max. I'll call it 95%. It's at least 95%. All right, now that means we're in a real good place. I might hypothetically, if that's only 95%, I might hypothetically be good for 630 on the deficit, which, pretty crazy to me. I'd take that any day. Dude, I'd take that any day. So, that being said, I kept things a little tamer on this max effort day. There was a lot of axial loading happening. So, I didn't worry about quads. I may not do belt squats other than on speed day. My quads are big. I haven't even been training quads every lower day with, any real work. A lot of these weeks I've been doing them once a week. Yet here we are getting stronger. Now we're switching over to the high bar squats, and I have plenty of quad to get it done. It's not an issue. It's the question becomes of, how much more quad do I really need? I don't know that we do. I think we need hip extension. I think hip extension and the back strength to maintain the proper bar path is kind of a big deal. Now, people would say, yeah, but even with the narrow stance high bar, yeah, because I have shorter femurs. Right, I have a long torso and short femurs if we were to, look at my ratios. So in my case, quads aren't that hard to build, number one. Number two, they're not that big of a deal. All right, they're not that big of a deal. As long as I can externally rotate the hips, I can speed the bar back up. So really, it is going to be a matter of hip extension. It's going to be a matter of back strength. But the way the reverse hypers, the way the deadlifts, everything are going, I think the back strength is coming up. I think it's coming up, so I'm happy with that. But good mornings, we did 315 with the cambered bar for two sets of 10. And I didn't want to overdo it today. Maybe on speed day we'll do a little more. But 2 good sets, considering I'm doing all this other work, I think that's plenty. Keeping in mind we are more efficient at recruiting muscle fibers after doing the training maxes. All right, it's not the same as doing it fresh. So I tend to be of the belief that we get a more enhanced training response. So I'm quite happy with just doing the 2 sets. In 315 for 2 sets of 10, I'll take it. I mean, I'd love to get the good mornings up to, sets of 10 with 405. I'd like to get a 600-pound good morning. And I think that's a worthy goal. Now people will say, why, what's that going to do for you? Well, I can always squat at least what I can good morning, if not a hair more. And I had one of my guys who was a very good morning dominant guy, who once we got his good morning up to 500, he hit a 505 squat. He didn't focus on his quads that much. And he was also a shorter femur guy. But he could just straight up just power squat. He could mog through it because he just had to get out of the hole. If you've got the glute and the quad to drive the weight out of the hole and to get a few inches above parallel with it, you can good morning. You can hip hinge and back it up. And it works fine. So, I look at some of that and go, can I do that the lighter weight? Or we could look at it and say, what if I want to do the 220? Because I'm not really enjoying this whole 198 thing. I'm going to do it at Worlds. I'll probably try to do a big meet every year, maybe at 198. But the cutting and then the water cuts are really, really becoming difficult, And yeah, it's where I can get world records. Getting world records in the 220 is going to be hard. It's the squat. Jesus Christ. I don't know that that's doable, guys. The deadlift, though. Deadlift, maybe. Look how easily my deadlift's been going up. I mean, that 600 just now off that deficit wasn't a max. So I have to look at that and go, could I pull 700 at some point as a Masters 2? I don't think I can necessarily do it at 198. I can do it at 220. All right. I can do it at 220. It needs to be a little above for a world record. That might be doable. I feel like if I'm willing to do the 220 eventually, getting up past the 405 bench isn't going to be that hard. The rate we've been going, it's the cutting down that makes some of this difficult. So, but I could also look at it and say, well, if I can get that good morning up to at least 600 and just build a little quad, I think we're good. So what else did we do here? We did glute ham raises and reverse hypers. These we did our normal work, five sets of 10. I went up 10 pounds on the reverse hyper. It's like I always say, some people don't like these. They don't like the way I do them. Okay. Look how strong my back and glutes are. Look how I don't have low back issues. You can hate on my method of doing my accessory work all that you like. But I'm lifting what I lift past age 45. Okay. So it's working. It's working just fine. In fact, I may want to upgrade once I move into a house to a Rogue One, so that I feel more confident putting even more weight on. I want to get these a lot stronger. I want to get them a lot stronger. Keep pushing the reverse hyper. Push the reverse hypers in the good mornings up to big numbers, and use the glute ham raise just to finish developing the hamstring. All right, that's it. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.